What's good? Welcome to another episode of Theo's Tailgate. We got the Pirates opening day this week. College baseball is also heating up, so in honor of that, we're going to have on the pitching coach from one of the best HBCU baseball programs, Jackson State University, Coach Justin Thomas, aka JT, who's also from the area. He's an Ambridge alum. Without any further ado, let's jump into it.
Here's a shot to second base. Over to first. Jackson State on their way to the SWAC Championship tomorrow at 1 p.m. 4-3 on the putouts. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on for Jackson State.
So we got Coach Justin Thomas here, Ambridge alum, took the JUCO route, played at Slippery Rock, coached in the MLB Draft League, now the pitching coach at Jackson State University. You want to just walk us through your journey a little bit from your playing days to coaching? I know I missed some stops and whatnot.
Yeah, so kind of a unique kind of story, just because I wasn't, highly recruited because I was a late bloomer when it came to the baseball thing. I always played, but I never really learned about working out and getting stronger and things of that nature. So when it came to my senior year, I wanted to play college baseball, of course, but wasn't really the athlete that I needed to be. But most importantly, I wasn't a student. My grades weren't up to par. So I had some family, had an older cousin, and then I also had a cousin my age who were going to community college in Texas, and I also had some family in Austin, Texas. So you know how it is, you don't know what you're gonna do, so you kind of follow somebody. So followed family down there for a year. I decided to come back, be closer to home, and I applied to 3 schools, and Slippery Rock was my first choice. So once I got accepted, I had reached out to the coach about trying to walk on and things of that nature. Came back home for the summer. I played in the summer, I did really well. Went up to Slippery Rock, tried out in the fall. I made it, but all my credits didn't transfer, so I had to sit out a year. So from 06, 07, I was a student, but I wasn't playing baseball there. And I graduated high school in 05, so now this is 2 years of not playing baseball. But in the fall of 07, I walked on, I made it, and played 08, 09, and 2010 was my last year of playing baseball. And ironically, I was just thinking about this the other day. After my last college game, man, I boo-hoo cried like a baby because baseball was the one thing that I always knew. It was just always there, next spring, next summer, next spring, next summer, you're always going to play. And there was no more next spring, next summer, so I didn't know what to do. But I knew that my love for the game ran deep, and I had to figure out a way to exercise it, for lack of a better term. So got into coaching. I got into coaching at my old high school, the younger guys coming up in the summertime helping out. And then I got into collegiate summer league baseball. One of my teammates was going to manage a team. He ended up not managing, but he helped get me on his staff. And I had to figure out a way to build my resume to try and make this a life, make it a career. So I dedicated my summers, almost every summer in my 20s after I got done playing. So from 23 to 30, and I still do it, but 23 to 30 was coaching in the summertime, trying to build my resume, network, meet people. And then I came across a gentleman named Jim Chester, who's now the head baseball coach at Gardner-Webb in North Carolina. He was the head coach at Penn State Great Allegheny at the time. We had networked together, and he offered me a pitching coach position. So I was able to join his coaching staff for 2 years. I learned a lot. We had a lot of success, and I ended up, while coaching, finding a head coaching position at a small NAIA school, Voorhees College, which is now Voorhees University in Denmark, South Carolina. So I became a head coach very early. I was there for 4.5 years. I was able to rebuild a program, not only on the field, but also, the academic aspect of the baseball players and the team GPA and things like that. And in the fall of 2018, I was offered the job at Bethany College in West Virginia. So I was fortunate enough to get that job, also kind of a step up, but also I was able to come closer to home. Bethany is only an hour away from Ambridge, so it was nothing to be able to go home and visit family and see friends and things like that I had missed out on, not only the last 4.5 years, but also in the summertime. And during that time at Bethany College, I was able to get into the Appalachian League, which is a collegiate summer league that's ran by MLB Baseball and USA Baseball in the summer of 2021, which led me to the summer of 2022 being the pitching coach for the West Virginia Black Bears in the MLB Draft League, which was a great experience. You're at WVU's facilities. You have a Major League Baseball player that you was just watching on TV, now in the dugout with you every day, and having regular conversations and playing cards on the bus and things like that. And it was a pretty good experience. And during my time at Bethany College was a great experience. And now in the summer of 2023, I was offered a pitching coach position here at Jackson State University, and I took it. And again, being able to sit underneath a head coach who's rolling up on 600 wins a career, has won championships, been to regionals, a very intelligent man, a coach that has a lot of success. Well, it's a great opportunity to help with that, as an assistant, but also to learn and be involved with those things. So that's what brings me to present day, 2025, my second year here at Jackson State.
So you've been around the road, made a lot of pit stops. Even through the past week, you've been at Mississippi State, down in Florida, played Prairie View in Texas, New Orleans. Is traveling something that kind of bothers you? And do you have some favorite memories from those pit stops along your journey?
No. So I actually love the traveling. I love riding the bus. I love, being with the guys. Because usually whenever you have home games, everybody goes home. But when you're on the road, you're on the bus for a couple hours, you end up talking to guys, and you go down to hotel breakfast and there's 3 or 4 guys already there. And it's just a different way of interacting with them. So I love it. Also, I've learned as a man, the older you get, the more times whenever you're in a vehicle, you're behind the wheel. So I look forward to being in a bus and somebody else driving. But as far as a favorite memory, as far as traveling on the bus, when I was in college, we had a thing called Freshman Idol, where the new guys had to sing a song on the bus. And during my time as a head coach, it's something that I implemented. So I think some of my favorite memories is taking something that I experienced as a player and passing it down to another group and having those guys, sing a song for 90 seconds on the bus on the way to Myrtle Beach for spring break and things like that. So I'd probably say those are some of my favorite memories.
And then coaching at Bethany, like you mentioned, you got to come closer to home, but the weather this time of year in March is kind of completely different than what it is up there in Jackson, Mississippi now, and just down south in general. How did that factor into your transition?
No, so actually today it was 80 degrees here in Jackson. So I'm not sure what the weather was back home, but I'm assuming it wasn't a heat wave, but it may be a little bit warmer since we're to the end of March. But the weather wasn't a factor. I had been in South Carolina, so I was used to some warm weather. But I love the cold. I love the cold. So when I come home for Christmas, I'm in my natural habitat.
Outside of the weather, how was the transition from Bethany, Pennsylvania, moving all the way down to Jackson, Mississippi, one of the top HBCU baseball programs?
It was different. You pack up your car and you drive 16 hours, so that's different, different time zones, not near anybody. I think my closest relatives, I have Houston, Texas, Dallas area, 5-6 hours, and then I have Atlanta on the other side. But the transition was rough at first, just because you're trying to feel your way, you're trying to build up your apartment where you live, but also you're working with new people, you're at a new institution, you're meeting new players. So that was a bigger adjustment than anything else. But what I can say is the number one goal of our program, is winning baseball games. So once the umpire said play ball, everything's smooth, because now you're just trying to win. You're trying to prepare the young men on your team. You're trying to make sure everybody's on board with one thing, and that's winning baseball games. So the transition became a lot easier as time went on last year, and then this year, obviously knowing what to expect, much smoother.
And during your first year last year with Jackson State, you guys had the second lowest ERA in the SWAC, also went to the SWAC championship. This season is already underway, obviously, but how fired up are you about the rest of the season heading into it?
I'm excited. We were, like you said, we're already in it. We're about 25 games in, give or take a couple games, but I'm excited. It's last year. We made it to the championship. We fell short, but last year is last year. This is a new year. Some of those guys are back, and then some of those guys have moved on. So you have to take this group, and the sole focus with this group this year is, to get back, to the tournament, get back to that championship game, and then kind of finish where we left off, but come out on top this year.
And some of those guys have moved on, like you mentioned. Are there any guys who have kind of blossomed onto the scene this year for you guys on the mound?
Yeah, I would say we have a senior left-handed pitcher who he had a good day the other day. He had 13 strikeouts, and the last 2 weekends we've had two guys have 13 strikeouts in games that we won. Ironically, they have the same first name, but. He's new to the program. He transferred in, but he's a hard worker. He always wants to do the extra rep, do the extra work. Sometimes to a point where I have to tell him to relax, not because I don't want him to work, but to understand that you also taking care of your body and resting is also part of it. But that's just a testament to his character. He wants to do the extra dry work. He wants to do the extra lifting, the extra running. He wants to be prepared, and he's been consistent for us so far this year, and he had a really good day the other day, so hopefully we can continue to build on that.
Forgive me for not knowing this, bro, but can you kind of educate us on what the pitch rules kind of look like in terms of pitch count, how long of a break pitchers have to take, things of that nature?
Yeah, so for us, it doesn't exist. It's really based on the player. So what I mean by that is you might have a relief pitcher pitch on Friday, 20 pitches, 30 pitches, and come back Saturday and do the same thing. Now, you might have a starting pitcher throw 100 pitches. He's probably not going to come back in a day or two and pitch unless you're playing for the championship and it's all hands on deck for what you need. But the rule of thumb usually is if a guy throws 30 pitches, 35 pitches, he usually gets 1 day off. But each guy on the pitching staff has a role. And sometimes that role is to be able to throw on short rest. So whether you throw 35 Friday and then you throw 15 or 20 on Saturday, or if you throw 35 Friday, you come back and throw 35 on Sunday if you're a reliever. So everybody has a role. So it's really how you take care of your body, how you prepare your body in the preseason and things of that nature. But in regards to rules, there's not really a rule for college. When you get into youth baseball, in high school baseball, it's, if you throw 45 pitches, it might be 2 days and different things of that nature. That's more so for the youth, for protecting arms. At our level and the professional level, we protect arms as well, but also we understand how we train our guys. And some guys have a role where they're specifically meant to do that as far as pitching on zero rest or 1 day or things like that.
In terms of pitching rotations, I know guys are a lot more versatile in college in terms of starting, coming out of the bullpen, things of that nature. But how do pitching rotations tend to work? Like, do you guys know who's going to start, for example, this upcoming week against Grambling State?
Yeah, we do. We generally have an idea who's going to start. The only thing that would change potentially would be the day, but I don't think we have any changes coming up this week. But we have an idea, that's kind of what we use the fall for. The fall practice season is used for development and then also used to kind of identify what roles guys will be in. not only pitchers, but everybody, so, and then whenever we get back to school in January, we kind of reassess and then kind of try and submit things in, at least for the start, and say, hey, this is our first 2 weekends. This is who we're going to roll with as our starters. And things change. If someone's struggling, or if someone throws a lot of pitches one day and they need an extra day of rest, so somebody could step in. There's different things like that could change it. But right now, I can say we have an idea who's starting, next weekend. And then we go from there as far as who's going to be in relief. If there is going to be any changes to who starts, things like that. That's, ultimately that's the head coach's decision. Him and I will, we usually talk about it, or if he has a thought, he'll run it by me. But, my job, regardless of whatever his decision is, my job is to make sure that whoever that starter is prepared from his throwing routine, from his mound work, from weightlifting, from conditioning, arm care, things of that nature. My job is to make sure he's prepared, regardless of who it is that is going to be making a start in the weekend.
And then looking at your guys' schedule, you have a lot of conference games coming up. You also have some big games against SEC schools like Ole Miss. But do you guys have a rival coming up in the future, or just a game circled that you're really looking forward to?
I'm not sure. Again, this is my second year here, so I don't think I wouldn't know if we have a true rival. I'll say, as far as rival, I don't think we have a rival. I'll say that our next weekend's a big weekend because it's conference, number one. Number two, we're at home, and our next opponent, they're 5-1 in conference, and we're 2-4. So this could be a big weekend for us to kind of right the ship, and then also earn a tiebreaker against someone that's ahead of us, in case if they fall and we go up in the standings, maybe we can seeding for the playoffs, we can get ahead of them. But as far as a game circle, this weekend's a big one. We're 2-4 conference, so if we can win this series, I think we'd be right back on track and be in good shape. So I think that sounds very cliche of a coach to say the next game is the one circle, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
No, it makes sense. And how are things down at Brady Field? Does the atmosphere get a little wild? Do fans show out? Are the facilities kind of nice?
Yeah, we have a beautiful ballpark. And the fans come out, and it's not just student body. We have students come out, we have family of the players come, we have other teams come by. Our baseball field is located near, our baseball and softball fields are located near each other, and we both played on Friday. And after the softball game, the young ladies came over and were in the stands cheering for us. So that was kind of cool. And I know a lot of times, whenever we leave, if they're playing and we leave practice, a lot of our young men on our team, stop by and support them as well. So the atmosphere is good. The atmosphere is good whenever we play at home, and it's big to win at home. You want to protect your home territory.
And then flashing back to some of your other pit stops, you also tied the school record for wins at Bethany College in West Virginia. That had to feel great. And how was it down there? Is that one of your most accomplished stops, you would say?
Yeah, I think that my time at Bethany was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, the young men that I got to coach. I enjoyed the people I worked with. It's a very small town, very, very rural area, very quiet. I have no regrets. I was very blessed and I'm thankful for my time at Bethany. But the 2019 season was a pretty special one. Just because I got hired, my first day at Bethany was the Monday after Thanksgiving, right? So the fall season was over. I really didn't get to see anybody practice, anything like that until January. But we had a big senior class. We had a lot of young men that wanted to win and that they were hungry. And, I kind of let them be themselves, but kind of tried to steer the ship as best as I could. And we had our ups and downs throughout the season, but, we won a lot of baseball games. And we fell short in the conference championship game. But it was definitely one of my favorite baseball seasons, player or coach, was Bethany in 2019. We had a really special group. It was an awesome time. and it was for sure definitely one of my cherished memories for sure as baseball in my life is concerned.
And then also another flashback going back to the MLB Draft League. You want to kind of walk us through that a little bit more and what that looked like?
Yeah, so the MLB Draft League for the first half of the summer, all June and into July up until the draft, is high school seniors, junior college sophomores, and basically it's draft eligible players that are looking to raise their draft stock, that are on draft boards that have been recommended by scouts, that they're playing in this league where scouts can come around and kind of see them play. So for example, if there was a young man that was on our team from Texas Tech that scouts had saw him play. We had a center fielder from Oklahoma State, scouts that saw him play. Came and played in the league, and whether they were either not on the draft board and then appeared on the draft board, or they were already on it, and that kind of solidified them as far as being draft picks, their performance in that league. And then once the MLB draft happens, the guys that still have eligibility leave. They return home or they go play somewhere else in the summer. And the second half of the league becomes professional baseball, independent ball, similar to what you would see with the Washington Wild Things. So now we have guys who have exhausted their eligibility, and now they're getting paid to play. They're playing professional baseball for the rest of the summer in hopes, to get picked up by an affiliated team or to move to a different independent league, which had happened. We have a young man who was on our team who's an outfielder in the Twins organization and another one in the Giants organization, whose first taste of professional baseball was in that draft league. And that's just from my experience. There's other young men that have played, that have signed affiliated contracts and things like that. But those are the two young men that we had on our team, and it was a blast. We ended up winning the championship, and it was a really, really good time, really good summer.
And throughout all your pit stops, kind of putting you on the spot with this one, do you have a favorite coaching memory or a couple of them?
Yeah, so I have a couple. I'll say 2015, my first head coaching win at Voorhees College was one of my favorite memories. It's just kind of that confirmation that, hey man, you can do it. That was one of my favorite ones. I'll say in Bethany, I want to say it was 2021 or 22. I won my 100th game as a head coach, and that was pretty cool to win 100. And also a Bethany memory, the 2019 conference championship, the game to go to the championship, I got ejected, and I couldn't coach in the championship game. But my mother came and was like keeping me company whenever I was hanging out by the band. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't watch. Wasn't allowed in the stadium. But it was worth it. It was worth it for the whole season. Like I said, it was a favorite memory of mine that entire year.
What led to you getting ejected, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so there was a situation with a guy running up the first base line, bumped into our first baseman. It was the same guy twice. And their head coach, the other team's head coach, was coaching third base. And I didn't know this at the time, but I found out now the guys have graduated, that somebody from our dugout had said something, and their head coach heard it and didn't like it. So what happened was their head coach was walking towards our dugout, yelling at our players, which if anybody was going to yell at the guys, it was going to be me. But he was walking towards our dugout, yelling at our players. So I stepped in between and stepped to him. So now him and I were face to face, and we're jawing at each other back and forth. And then the umpire doesn't give us a warning. He just throws us both out of the gate. So now that was the first time I'd ever been ejected, and wasn't swearing, wasn't being malicious or anything like that. But the fact that him and I were face to face, jawing back and forth, And next thing you know, I got thrown out. So now I'm getting my book bag, and I'm like, if we win this game and go to the championship, I just got thrown out. What in the world just happened? No warning, nothing. But the guys picked me up. They won that game, and I told them, I said, hey, we win the championship tomorrow, or lose the championship tomorrow, I won't be in the dugout. But I explained to him, I said, that guy shouldn't be yelling at you guys. I said, I don't yell at you guys like that, really. But they understood. They appreciated it. They felt like I stood up for them. They appreciated it, and we couldn't coach the championship game.
And with all the places you've been, it's probably been a diverse food scene. Have you had a favorite food spot? Maybe is down south the best?
Favorite food? So, South Carolina, the South is like obviously big on soul food, but it's also big on seafood, and I don't eat seafood. But like I've had some barbecue. I've had some barbecue that's been pretty good, for sure. I'd say not a specific place, but I'd say like barbecue down south tastes a lot different than barbecue up north. I'll put it that way.
And can you cook yourself?
I can do a little something. My brother's a chef. I'm nowhere near him, but I can meal prep for the week with some baked chicken, rice, and vegetables, the typical, just the easy stuff.
So what will you be bringing to the tailgate then?
Oh, can I bring my brother? Do we need someone to man the grill? I don't know what I would bring to the tailgate. I'll bring a deck of cards, so we want to play spades. I'll bring my brother so he can cook. But I don't know if I can cook anything for the tailgate, man. I might have to stop by the grocery store or something. That's kind of a lame answer. I'm not good enough for other people to eat my food.
The deck of cards is a valid answer.
Yeah, if we're gonna play, I know my boys from home, if they watch this, they're gonna laugh and say, yeah, he would bring the deck of cards, because they know what's up.
No, the cards help keep the vibe, but hey, Coach JT, I really appreciate you getting with me, bro.
Hey, man, my pleasure. Thank you.